Hey, welcome to another broadcast from the Two Bear Arms channel. Today is the Unloaded segment where we cover just general topics that kind of unscripted, unprepared, and that makes it kind of fun. I'm Kurt, also known as CC, and
I'm Deuce.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in again, and we're going to dive into some topics here. Something that's kind of big news that we talked about prior to starting the episode today that I think we kind of want to start with because everybody's talking about it is the unfortunate situation on the movie set with Alec Baldwin. Our prayers and thoughts go out for the families that were involved and for everyone involved there on the set. But it's a teachable moment, I think, at this point, and we need to wait for more facts to come out a little bit, but a lot of them came out, today earlier with the Sheriff's Department releasing a lot of the statements from the people that were there on the scene. And, from the film industry side, we see a lot of gun handling, a lot of gun work, and there's always armors involved. In this case, somewhere in the mix, someone loaded the gun. We're not sure. I don't know if they've figured out who had done it at this point, but the firearm ended up loaded and then discharged while they were practicing for the next scene. And from the safety standpoint, Deuce, kind of run down some of the safety steps, that we use for competition, that we use for training, that everybody should be using, across the board.
Well, I mean, we all, most gun people know the number one rule, and that's you always treat a firearm like it's loaded. Mm-hmm. Okay. In particular, one of the things that we do from a competitive shooting standpoint is we have designated areas where only loaded firearms are allowed. Yep. In all SAS events, for example, we don't allow loaded firearms off of the line. Mm-hmm. And those are checked at a loading table, and then they're also cleared at an unloading table. In muzzle direction it is paramount. I mean, we don't, what's interesting to me is when you become a competitive shooter, muzzle discipline becomes much more ingrained than, I think a lot of us, if you're like myself, and I know you especially, you grow up hunting, small game hunting, deer hunting, muzzle directions is not always applied, even though we all go through hunter safety and stuff like that. You become very cognizant of it. And in here in the store every day, I mean, we are handling firearms all day long, and it just becomes ingrained in you. And so, the number one thing is we always treat a firearm like it's loaded. Mm-hmm. And it's, it bears repeating. You never pointed at anything that you don't want to destroy. Mm-hmm. That's one of the first things. Like for me, I have three young children. That's the very first thing I tell them.
Sure.
So, in this case, I don't, we're going to get in depth on this, but you kind of wonder why in the world in a situation like that, was there even live ammo in the area?
Yeah.
That's my first question.
Sure.
How does that happen?
Sure.
It's just, 101. And I see a lot of, I've been reading a lot of the comments and from the, some of the more shared articles on social media, and everybody's like, how does a prop gun, how does a prop gun go off? Don't they have pin barrels? Don't they have? And that's something that a lot of people don't realize is that most prop guns are full functioning real firearms.
Sure.
There are some exceptions, some exceptions to the rules. There's been some guns that have been severely modified and stuff like that to accept different types of lengths and stuff. But usually they are fully functioning firearms.
Sure.
Which a lot of people don't realize, and they need to be treated as such.
Yep. So. Yep. And and Deuce brought up a good point there. All day long in the store here in Two Bear Arms, we're handling firearms, we're handing firearms over to customers, and as a customer, I'm kind of asking folks too to be very cognizant of the muzzle direction. You watch us, at least our shop, our policy is before we hand the firearm over, we check the firearm. We open the firearm, even if we just press check it to make sure there's nothing in a semi-automatic, or open the cylinder on a revolver, or open the bolt on a rifle, or same thing with semi-auto rifle. Slide the bolt open, take a look at it real quick before we hand it over to a customer. But then once you as the customer has the firearm in hand, number one, you should check it just to make sure that we didn't subconsciously miss something. And then just watch your muzzle direction. All day long we get guns pointed at us, and we become kind of numb to it at a certain point. And it's very difficult to hand a gun over to a customer without it being pointed at us, because we lay it on the counter, and I try to instruct everyone, lay the muzzle toward ourselves, so then that way the customer can directly pick the gun up. Well, as soon as the customer touches the gun, it's pointing at us. And we've just kind of become somewhat accustomed to it. I know when we first opened the shop all those years ago, for the first couple of weeks, it was a little daunting to me to have the gun picked up. And the customer was not doing anything wrong. They were picking up a firearm just to look at it, but it took a little getting used to have the gun sweep past you like that.
It puts us in a little bit of a catch-22 as well, because we could slap muzzles and discipline people all day long about this, but we are in a customer service environment. We want a customer to have a good time and feel good about themselves. And I have been in shops where associates have yelled at a customer for muzzle direction. And myself personally, I've never been honestly, I've worked enough gun counters the last 20 years to every time you work, you get flagged by a firearm. You just kind of get numb to it. And I know that sounds unacceptable and crazy to people, but until you're in that environment, that's why we do it. That's why we check everything before we hand it to them. I've never seen an associate here not check a firearm when they hand it to a customer. And that does one of two things. It gives us peace of mind, and it sets a good example.
Absolutely.
For the customer. Because again, we don't want to be in here yelling at people, but we want people being safe for everybody's sake, themselves included. So it's just, again, that's a situation that we deal with every day. And like you said, we could absolutely be the militant guys all day long, but we're trying to educate people here and help people out.
And in a reminder in that fashion also, people bringing guns in for repair or trade-in, or, to have an evaluation done on them and an estimate on value for insurance purposes or estates or whatever the case may be. Make sure these firearms are clear before you go into any gun shop. And we have signs posted out there, and people come in all the time and say, hey, I've got some guns in the trunk I want to trade in, or I want to have, their grandpa's guns I want to have them worked on. Okay, please make sure they're unloaded, bring them in. And invariably, once every couple of months, somebody will bring a gun in and we'll say, is it unloaded? They'll say, yes, we'll check it right away. We check all guns when they come in, and lo and behold, there'll be a round in the gun.
I've found it.
Absolutely. I've found it dozens and dozens of times. So, and, there again, they weren't necessarily being careless, but they didn't know that if they didn't pull the bolt all the way back on that 22 rifle, that it would bring one out of the tube and load the firearm. So
it's
they
usually 22s.
Yeah, usually 20, a lot of 22s.
Because it was leaning by the back door loaded, and it's been loaded for the last 40 years.
Sure.
That's
Grandpa was ready for the rogue raccoon.
Ready for the groundhog to come out. So it's, but it's something that we deal with on a daily basis in here.
Yep. So this is more of kind of, I guess this is our public service announcement portion that we didn't have planned, because this is the unloaded segment. But, we're kind of, I guess, beating the drum and starting a mission here to make everybody be a little more cognizant, a little safer with their firearms when they're handling them in the stores or when they're bringing them in. And then, of course, just in general, anytime you're touching a firearm, make sure that it's unloaded, pointed in a safe direction, guys. It's just such a simple rule to get yourself in the habit. And like Deuce mentioned, now that we've been shooting competition for the many, many, many years that we have been, we are a little more aware, and I think all competitors, not just him and I exclusively, but all competitors become more structured to their muzzle direction and checking the firearms. I know there's been multiple times showing other competitors one of our handguns down on the range. Even though they know that we just cleared it at the unload table, we go to put it in our cart, they want to see the gun, they still check it, which is fantastic. That's exactly what they should do. Double check it. And if we could all start following that, that's going to be a lot better situation. As far as the Baldwin situation, There again, I don't know, we don't know what we don't know. So we weren't there, but, that gun had to have been pointed in the direction of the people that were hit. I mean, that's the only way it can be done. They said in the article I read just a half hour ago, they said that he was practicing for a scene they were going to film here shortly, and that he was to point the gun at the camera. I find it a little unusual that he had to fire it directly at the camera, but apparently maybe he did, or needed to for the scene. And maybe they were setting the cameras up behind the scene and struck both the people with the one shot. So, yes, the armorer was at fault here at this. I can, obviously there shouldn't have been live ammunition on the property, and the gun should have been checked. Apparently, many sources have said that it was declared a cold gun. That still does not alleviate the responsibility of the person holding the gun to make sure it's a cold gun. And for Hollywood, which Hollywood's probably not listening to us, but no. Who knows? Maybe somebody will share it to one of them or something. But, actors and actresses, even if they're anti-gun, if they're going to make movies to where they're holding guns, they need to know a little more about them. They need to be versed in being able to at least check them for safety purposes. So there's some responsibility that falls on the individual that's holding the firearm. And, I read a lot of the similar comments that you were alluding to earlier. People are mad. They're saying that he should be charged and this and that. I don't know. I'm not going to make that,
right,
that determination. That's for the prosecutor to decide. But at the same time, there's some personal responsibility, even if it doesn't become legal responsibility. There's some personal responsibility to make sure that the firearm that you're holding is completely safe.
Right.
So,
and as much as I don't like Alec Baldwin,
yes, sir,
for a variety of reasons,
yes, sir,
I find it hard to believe that he's probably not completely inconsolable about this situation.
Absolutely.
So,
sure.
a little, and a lot of people want to hammer him right away, yep. But I'm sure he feels awful.
Oh, absolutely.
And this event's going to change his life forever.
Sure.
And that's, somebody is dead.
Yep.
And, that's pretty serious. That's, doesn't get more serious than that.
Sure.
So, and of course, we see the instant knee-jerk reaction, mm-hmm. It immediately becomes a gun problem.
Right.
Rather than a people problem.
Right.
And, who's pointing the fingers where,
mm-hmm.
I mean, who's to blame? Mm-hmm. And again, that's not what we're here to talk about really, but
right. And the poor armorer, what I was reading in the article was she was in her early 20s. Mm-hmm. And so this is the beginning of her career, hoping to be an armorer for the film industry. And this was not a high budget remake of The Matrix or anything like that. So she was trying to work her way up, and now she's got this on her record. So right. Probably done as an armorer. But even people that weren't affected by the actual bullet coming out, there's a lot of people going to be affected by this for a long time. So,
interesting that you say that. I had an opportunity to speak with an actual producer last year because he was seeking some information for some movie guns, and he was directed towards me about a particular lever gun, and he himself was a pro gun guy in Hollywood, and he'd been in the business for 40 years. He told me personally that from a budget standpoint, even major budget films that have a lot of money being poured into them, he said that is an area that they always cut corners on.
Sure.
So
listed as a non-essential.
Right,
sure.
Listed as a non-essential. Yeah. But even though it may be a huge part of the action, and
mm-hmm.
So
I think Hollywood will probably change their tune to that just a little bit, or they should anyway.
And this is not the first time an actor or somebody involved in the film industry has died. I mean, I don't know if you remember Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, that was a horribly tragic event that there was actually actual loaded ammo that was dismantled and used for close-ups, and a bullet jumped and lodged in the barrel, and then a blank followed behind it, and you know, yeah. So, you know, those are, you know, that's how that kind of stuff happens. You just, you know, you kind of wonder, you know, what happens. So,
sure. Well, once again, we send our prayers out to everyone involved, including Baldwin. There again, we don't like him, but we can pray for him to be able to get through this, and you know, let them get their investigation done, and then let them decide what needs to happen, if anything, with him. You know, and there again, hoping that this becomes a completely teachable moment for Hollywood, for any of the armors out there, and for, you know, training groups. There again, you know, we do a lot of training classes here. We're going to be doing a lot more next year. The guns that we lay on display are all live firearms. They're just unloaded. And we make sure multiple times, we've done classes for many, many, many years. And, you know, I was thinking of it earlier today, and the amount of times that I've picked a gun up or had a gun in my holster during the class, and the gun I, you know, have in my holsters unloaded also, for the purpose of being able to draw and show techniques. But I still, every class, I check that gun. And I was trying to think earlier, you know, a 4-hour class or an 8-hour class, how many times I check that gun. Gosh, and, you know, I may even pull it out, demonstrate something, put it away. 5 minutes later, I get ready to pull it out to show something else. I just kind of, you know, just rack the slide lightly, just to press check it basically again. And it's become just normal for me to do that. And to the point of almost subconsciously, because I had to force myself to kind of think about how we do training classes today, just to kind of reinstill whether or not we're doing it properly or not. And we are. So I urge everybody that does training, or that's involved with any type of training, or at ranges or competition or any of that, to, you know, take a few minutes and step back and dig into your subconscious and see how you treat guns, how other people are treating guns, and kind of make it a little bit of a mission here to make sure that this type of incident doesn't happen, you know, to any of us. So anything else you want to cover on that?
No, again, you know, as information comes out, you know, this may not be the last time we talk about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously this is something that's not going to go away tomorrow.
Sure.
So,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, quick little boost here for, and I noticed you put your hat on, right? He went bolting just for behind the scenes. He went bolting out of the room right before we started. And I thought, well, he had to go to the bathroom or something. And so the producer, Phil, and I sitting here talking, and then he comes back in laughing because he remembered to grab his W.R. Hall hat.
Yep.
And that's
riding for the brand.
Riding for the brand.
That's
Listen
right.
to that. I like that. So, Mike, as you can see, Deuce stepped up to the plate there. He had your hat, and he's making me look bad over here, and I apologize, my friend.
Not true at all. No.
Yeah. So I even got mine hanging in my office in there.
You've got a lot on your mind.
Yeah,
so
a little bit.
Fine. Yep.
A little bit.
You're good.
A little bit. So.
Yep. Not so much on mine. Just ask anybody.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yeah. You just got back from vacation.
Yeah. It just kind of rattles around.
Yeah.
There, so.
Hey, let's talk about your vacation. I keep calling it vacation.
Well, it was a vacation.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
good.
it was a vacation where I went and you know, shot competitively, obviously. But,
okay. Tell us about it.
We went down to Cavern Cove shooting facility in Scottsboro, Alabama. Actually, I don't believe it's in Scottsboro. That's where I stayed. But what a beautiful, unique range.
Okay.
You know, I honestly, having not spent much time in that part of the country, I had no idea that northern Alabama was that mountainous.
Okay.
And of course, people from real mountain ranges will laugh at that, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And it was gorgeous. And all I know, my ears popped going in and out of the range. So we were somewhere up there.
Okay.
And very picturesque range. They've shot cowboy there, my understanding, about 25 years.
Nice.
And they do a variety of other disciplines, IPSC, IDPA, Steel Challenge, stuff like that. So it's a very complete competitive facility.
Okay.
And, you know, great people, a lot of effort put into the event in a very beautiful range setting. I think they ended up with 231 registered shooters.
Nice.
You know, and it was just an awesome celebration of our sport, and, you know, which our major events. That's what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it was the Southeast Regional. Of course, that's not our region in particular. Ours is the Midwest, but that does not exclude you from going and having a good time.
Sure.
So, what was very special for me is I got to hang out with my Florida friends, the Cracker Crew.
Okay.
Santa Fe River Stand, Delta Glen, Fireball, Midwest Hail, Outlaw Travis James, Chicky Wisdom, JP Law. Just so many different shooters that I've known for years down there. And, Santa Fe River Stand and I have been friends for a long time. And, it was, we've been young dads together and kind of watch our kids grow up together and kind of stuff. And it's been a lot of fun for us. But I only get to see him, maybe once a year if I'm lucky. So this was kind of I'd already seen him at End of Trail.
Sure.
So this was a bonus trip, and, we enjoyed ourselves, and we all stayed at the same hotel.
Nice.
And so at night there was about 40 of us in the parking lot. I think people were kind of wondering what the heck was going on.
In the parking lot, really?
In the parking lot, yeah. Well,
didn't take over a lounge, didn't take over a
they're not real keen on us being rowdy in the breakfast lounge. So, because obviously at that point in time, guns are way put away, and that's when some of the libations come out.
Okay,
and,
okay.
Yeah, it was an excellent time. I don't think I went to bed before 1 o'clock on any of the nights.
Nice.
So it was great. And strangely enough, it was always just JB Kid and I.
Okay.
We were always the last man. Yeah.
Where was Chili Pepper Pete at the time?
The thing with Chili is he's definitely getting older.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's starting to go down a little earlier.
I understand.
Yeah.
Little milk of magnesia and to bed, huh?
He was very tired all the time.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Chili.
Yeah, he's really good at about 11 o'clock in the morning, and about 6:30, it's when the shuffleboard is over, and he's ready to lay down.
I understand.
So,
poor Chili.
And Fireball hung on there pretty good.
Did he?
Yeah, he did well. Yeah, despite his advanced age.
Yeah.
And no, it's just been and again, those two guys, Fireball and Chili, they're my oldest friends in the game. We've been friends together for going on 21 years in cowboy shooting, and that was special too.
Yep.
We all kind of, I was fortunate to win my category in Wrangler, and Chili won Frontiersman. Nice. Santa Fe River Stand won. He was second in 49er. I think I ended up third overall. Christian Mortician was second, and then Sidekick. Nice. Young shooter from Alabama won the match overall. Okay. And we all, our particular group, we definitely could have had some better stage times at times. Okay. So we all kind of managed to talk our way out of real stellar matches, but we had solid performances, and I guess it really the experience really outshined the shooting portion of it for me.
Sure.
I just had a lot of fun with those people, and got to meet one of our our flagship shooter, Midwest Hail, for the first time.
Yeah.
Out of Florida, young lady, and that was, we just had a riot. And she's if you don't follow her on Instagram and Facebook, Midwest Hail, she's very enthusiastic about the sport, and she is high energy.
Yeah.
I mean, she I think we got done shooting warm-ups on side match day, and it was only 4 stages, and so she went and shot 4 more. And nice. I think if we wouldn't have all abandoned her, she probably would have shot 10 more. So
she's got a lot of primers hid somewhere.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, she shot a clean match and won her category for the region.
Yep.
So it's again, awesome experience. Definitely would return. Yep. And it was good, and it was at an awesome time of year. So
nice. Hey, congratulations to Stan too. I noticed before he got there, he shot a really nice buck. So he finally sent me a picture of it after you prodded him, I think. But I appreciate that, Stan, for thinking of me second. I appreciate that a lot. So.
Well, and he honestly thought he had sent it to you.
Yeah.
So,
okay, sure.
He was pretty upset about that. So he shot a beautiful Georgia buck. And,
that was very nice deer. Very nice deer.
Yeah. So he came in feeling pretty good about himself. He actually got a buck and a doe before.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So he had meat in the freezer.
Nice.
Or meat on the way to the freezer.
Nice.
So, yep. But,
excellent. I got my taxidermy to head back today from my taxidermist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got to bring it in here later.
Yep.
Tomorrow and hang it on the wall from last year.
Add that to the awesome collection of
Yes.
Indiana deer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, well, good deal. I'm glad you had a good time. Glad everybody was down there and got to hang out with them, and that's always a good time. So looking forward to.
Yep.
Well, now we're going into the dead of winter, I think, here shortly. It was cold today, but we'll get our plans ready for next year. I know we've got EOT for sure, and nationals, and Iowa, of course.
Iowa,
and then we got some scheduling time to be able to figure out a few more things.
Yeah.
So we'll have to sit down and start mapping all that out and figure out what it's going to look like.
Yep.
So
there are lots of choices.
Yep. Yep. What other topics you want to cover?
We mentioned earlier maybe hitting on deer season a little bit coming up.
Yeah. We're getting into the thick of deer season here in Indiana. Archery's still in right now. The rut, from what I've been reading online and then talking to some buddies and stuff that are avid hunters here in the area. I know one of our buddies, Flustraw, he scored a nice doe last week.
Yep.
I talked to a couple other buddies. They've scored some nice ones. Ty killed a nice buck, I think this morning or yesterday. He sent me a picture of it in Messenger this morning, and it was a beautiful deer. So I'm going out tomorrow morning, and tomorrow's supposed to be a great day for it. Now the rain stopped, and then we got gun season coming up in a couple of weeks. So
four ran across the driveway on the way in here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we saw at least a dozen deer on the way, between here and Etna Green. It's a 10-minute drive, so
good.
They're moving.
Good. Well, we're going to see if we can put some meat on the ground in the morning. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
So don't call me early. I'll be in the stand.
Yeah.
So
well, if you get, let me know.
Yeah.
And I'll help you drag it out.
Counting on it.
Yeah.
We got a stand to put up here this week too.
Yeah. If anything, I'll watch you do it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what you're doing wrong.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
Because you need a lot of guidance.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
You're kind of a newbie.
Yep. Yep. Later this week, we got to drag that big stand back to the other woods and set it up.
Yeah, the big dog.
The big dog. That's going to be a lot of fun.
That is. I don't know how much fun that's going to be. It'll be a good bonding experience.
I went by and looked yesterday, and we cannot drive across that field. So
we're carrying it.
We're carrying it.
Okay, well, that's perfect.
We can do it.
Yeah, we can. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You get the heavy end, I'll get the other end, and we'll be good.
Yeah. The only problem with carrying things like that is that's where the height difference really comes into play for us. That's, I always end up with the heavy end.
Yeah.
And then, we'll figure it out.
Well, I'm getting old too. So,
a
few years on you.
Could we get the Polaris back there?
No.
Okay.
No, he replanted that field. So
oh boy. Okay. Well, then there we go.
Yep.
We're carrying it.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Yep. We can do it.
But no, I'm pretty pumped up.
Yeah. People been coming in, picking up ammo and such. They're again here in the store. I don't know how other gun shops. I've talked to a couple of them, and they're starting to see ammo back a little bit. We've always had ammo on the shelves. A couple calibers here and there missing. We're still under restrictions. It's a 1-box limit on rifle ammo right now. Till we get more of it in, we're hoping the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow, hopefully, I can strike some deals and get enough ammo coming in here that we can allow a couple boxes at least through the start of deer season. And we've got a bunch more rifles coming in. We've got a lot of rifles out there right now. But so if you're looking for a rifle or anything like that, get it now. Don't wait. You're running out of time. Muzzleloaders too. I wanted to mention, muzzleloaders availability is just almost non-existent through the distributors unless you want a really, really expensive muzzleloader. Any of your baseline or midline muzzleloaders, we've got, a dozen of them or so here, but left in inventory. But after that, we cannot find more muzzleloaders. We're looking for them. We can't find them. We're checking with all the distributors. So, guys, if you're thinking of muzzleloader for late season, you don't have one or you wanted to get a new one, get them bought. And there again, I'm biased. Come here and buy it. But any of the gun shops, if you're far away and can't make it here, get to your local gun shops and get your muzzleloaders and stuff bought early, guys.
So in other words, if you see what you want and it's there in front of you, probably you should buy it.
Yeah, get it and get it done. So
that's amazing to me, really. I mean, how are muzzleloading components holding up?
They're they're out there. They're just a little shy. I've got a whole bunch of 209 primers coming in this week for the inline muzzleloaders. So we should be good through the rest of the season there. We've got a fair amount of powder there, again, limiting the amount of powder being purchased.
Right.
I do have a large shipment. While you were gone, I picked up a large shipment of general reloading powder for rifle and pistol.
Nice.
And there's probably, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 different kinds of powder, got multiple pounds of it coming in 1 pound jugs. So cool. That should be here actually tomorrow or Wednesday, I would think. Okay. So we'll have that on the shelf here when we open back up on Wednesday. So
sweet.
So that, it's starting to get a little more promising. Still no pistol primers, folks. Everybody's calling on pistol primers and rifle primers, and they're just hard to get. So, and people keep asking and trying to figure out the conspiracy behind it, but there's no conspiracy behind it when you think about who's manufacturing it. The primer aspect. The same companies that are making the primers also make ammunition, and right now they can't make enough ammunition. So why would they sell the primers? Is kind of the gist of it, I think. You got any other insight on the primer side of things?
Other than I have seen a little bit of a breakthrough in some of the online supply places. I don't want to mention any names just because
they didn't pay for spot.
They didn't pay for a spot. So, but they are starting to pop up again in limited quantities. Some of the places I was surprised to see a 10,000 order limit individually. Mm-hmm. That's encouraging.
Sure.
Somebody's getting them.
Yep. Sure.
Somebody's getting them, and they're coming from somewhere.
Yep.
So I think things are breaking free again. The powder showing up again is encouraging.
Yep.
From the ammo side of things, I'm seeing some brass supply free up, and some projectiles have been much better in the last couple months. For the most part, and again, primers are the big one.
Yep.
So, and the import issues that we're having have really caused a problem with a lot of the small ammo manufacturers, because a lot of them do rely on European made primers.
Sure.
So, I don't care what you're looking for. You go into a lot of stores and they're just out of stuff, period.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so obviously that I don't know all the details, but the ships sitting in the harbor are causing a problem for everybody. And the conspiracy side of things, it's fun to talk about,
right?
But it's just supply and demand at this point.
Yeah, and everything's getting choked up. This is where, like you're saying, the ship's sitting in the harbor, and I read an article the other day that, it takes 2 to 3 days to unload a ship. I don't know how true this is. It's just one of the articles I read, but 2 to 3 days for them to completely unload a ship. And there's over 150 ships sitting at one port out there, and I don't know how many ships they can be unloading at once, but it can't be more than 5 or 6 ships lined up along there. They're pretty good size. So I don't know.
And it's not like it goes immediately off of the dock right to the store shelves.
Right.
It then has to go through customs and get inspected. And, we are, I hate, I don't want to get into soapbox about this, but man, what a time to talk about returning to American-made products.
Absolutely.
There's a novel idea.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to, we were talking about, a certain manufacturer of a certain product, it literally being cheaper for them to ship the unfinished product across seas, have it finished, and ship it back. The manufacturer was saving money versus having it made here.
Under the changes with the administration that's holding power right now, that's exactly, and you're right. We were just talking about that it's a local company, big company, and they have locations all over the world. They're a big company, but they're actually, they can get the general base parts here started in the United States from their suppliers, ship it overseas, put it all together, ship it back here, then sell it, and they're able to do it cheaper without the tax involved in it,
or the red tape involved,
in it. And that's pretty sad, because it's getting ready to put a couple hundred people out of work. and a lot of subcontractors out of work because of it.
And that's just one.
Just one.
That's just one tiny little sector, really, in the scheme of things. So,
and it has nothing to do with the firearms industry. So
no, it has absolutely nothing to do with the firearms. So, it, I mean, I don't want to turn this into a political rant, but this is where we're at.
Hey, this is unloaded, dude. We can talk about
anything
anything
this is where we're at, guys. And I mean, when people, people think their vote doesn't matter. Yeah. And, certain, we're seeing a trickle down effect right now of how, what happens. Yeah. And, it's literally, I was speaking to another friend of mine, in New York in particular today. And he was, he's a manager that, they're in the transportation business. Mm-hmm. And, he's got buses that that have been sitting in the lot for 15 months because he can't get the stuff to repair them. Sure. It it kind of blows your mind, and this, nice, you drive past, holding lots for brand new vehicles and they're waiting on, computer chips. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. It would be nice if folks that are wanting to start businesses or that are in manufacturing and that type of stuff could start figuring out how to bring it back here and how they could gravitate to the red states to try to make it more advantageous to build it here. Yeah. And to keep it here and to be able to supply it here so we can get back to some self-sufficiency. But, with the political climate, I think, it's a struggle to keep fighting the tax issues and everything that the corporations have to do. So, folks, you got to get out, you got to vote, you got to start supporting the right politicians. And it's easy to say, hey, I wish we could throw them all out and start all over. Well, there are some good ones out there. Sure. There are some folks that are doing it for the right reasons. Let's figure out who they are. Let's support them. Let's figure out how to get them into office and not let our guard down as we do it. So,
I was just talking to a mutual friend of my dad's and I's, and he runs a business, and he had a gentleman come in. They needed to fill a spot, and he did he did a job shadowing for a couple of days, figure out if he was going to work for the position and if he wanted to do it. And he liked it, did well. They were meshing well. And when it came time to come to an agreement, the gentleman said, well, can you pay me under the table for 14 weeks? And the gentleman's like, well, no, I can't do that. Right. Said, well, I've got 14 weeks left of unemployment, so I'm not going to take the job. Right. I mean, this is what we're, sure. Sooner or later, people are going to have to get back to work. Yeah. Or not. Right. Right. It kind of, and my what I'm noticing is I'm getting numb to it. Yeah. It's starting to feel normal. Yeah. And that scares me a little bit too. I mean, this is this reminds me of a book they would have made us read in high school. I mean, it's just, right. It's a little unreal. Right. So, and until they figure out the unemployment benefit things, which there again, I'm all for having the unemployment benefits for those that need it. But, I was even talking to somebody the other day. I said, why don't they figure out a lifetime limit? You're allowed to draw unemployment for this much time in your entire lifetime. Set a number or make it a number for every 10 years or whatever, however they need to set and do the math on it. But, I think people would bank it more than they would just set and burn it in these situations. And, I understand trying to give them the extra stimulus part of it, but the economy doesn't need more stimulus right now. No. It needs to get the supply chain back under control and get the chokeholds pulled out of it and let people get back to being a little more responsible and filling all these jobs. It's amazing the number of places that are hiring. I mean, today my son and I were running errands, and like I say, I went and picked up my head from the taxidermist and such, and it was quite a distance to drive. And we talked many times today about how many places we're hiring. Every stoplight we come to, there were signs somewhere. Yeah. Now hiring, paying bonus, 500 bonus, 1,000 bonus, sign on bonus after 90 days, and we really talked about it quite a bit today. And it's sad to see small business,
struggling like this. One example, one of the restaurants there in Akron that we frequent down there, the owner, she's by herself in there a lot of days.
Yeah.
And man, she hustles, does a fantastic job. Food is excellent there, but we were just talking about that the other night, how hard she has to work.
Yeah.
And she's got a help wanted sign up all the time, trying to get people in there. And she has some part-time staff on, I guess, the weekends and things, but during the week she said she can't find any help. Mm-hmm. And that's just a shame. There's jobs out there. So I don't know how we get everybody back to work.
Well, how about an incentive for going back to work?
Yeah.
If we're going to continue to throw money away that we don't have anyway, why don't we throw some incentives to go back to work?
Yeah. Go hold a job for 90 days and get a check, an extra check,
yeah.
That's a great idea.
But it doesn't, it's right now, it kind of feels like it's hard not to look at what's going on and it not feel like some of it is on purpose. And
sure. Dependency.
Yep.
Create some dependency on it. But I think you should run for office. I think after this conversation,
I don't think that's a good idea.
Deuce for governor. Deuce for governor. Come on, man. Start small. Run for governor.
You're actually not the first one to ever say that to me. And
we'll start small. We'll run you as governor.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, they could probably make a Lifetime movie about that. And I don't need to be a part of that.
Wow. It could be a top seller.
No, I didn't say it was going to be a good Lifetime movie.
Right.
No, it's just guys. We'll have some elections coming up in the future, and they're going to be really important.
Yep.
I've seen, how crippled local economies became and what it did. My father's a small business owner. Mm-hmm. He's depended on nobody but himself for 58 years running his own small business.
Sure.
And, he was unfortunately, I'll just say it straight up, he was a barber in Michigan.
Yep.
We're talking about a man that's never taken 3 consecutive days off in his life.
Right.
5 days a week. And he had months he couldn't work. Mm-hmm. And, it's been a huge hit on people.
Sure.
And, the restaurant business, you want to talk about heartbreaking.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
those people. Absolutely heartbreaking. And, and that's why, again, shop local. We all hear it.
Yep.
And I know this last weekend you said you had a great kind of a Christmas rush.
Yep.
Which was awesome.
Sure.
And it's important, guys. And hey, we all click the button on Amazon. It's easy to do.
Yep.
And sometimes and I have made a conscious effort on a lot of items to find stuff locally too. Sure. In the last year, I know I've really tried that. And, and sometimes after 3 trips, you got to hit the button.
Yep.
But it's important.
Sure.
And it can't be said enough.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and like today, my son and I were running errands and made it kind of a day of it. But there were several things that I was thinking about ordering online, and we took the effort and went running around up in Mishawaka and Elkhart and found everything we were looking for.
Yeah.
And, it took a little work, but we had a great time.
Sure.
We had a great time, and we found a bunch of other stuff.
Probably had some conversation.
Oh, I had some great conversation.
Yeah.
Yep. Covered a lot of topics.
Yeah. See what that accomplishes.
Sure.
You shop local. You're boosting the local economy.
Yep.
You're having good conversation with your son.
Yep.
Boom.
And found a bunch of stuff we weren't looking forward to.
There you go. Yeah, we all know what kind of an impulse buyer you are.
What? No, come on.
Absolutely.
Come on.
They made end caps just for you. End caps exist for you.
Wow.
No, hey, that's the truth. I'm not saying
I bought anything from an end cap today.
Or maybe one of those kiosks right by the cash register.
Oh, we got sucked into that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're good there.
Yeah,
okay.
And I know that that definitely was genetic. Because your son is very similar.
Wow.
Yeah, he likes to shop.
Yep. Yep. We like nice things. What can we say?
Yeah. Hey.
So
no, but again, this is we can't say it enough, guys. Shop local, shop small. Do it whenever you can.
Yeah.
And for nights you don't feel like cooking.
Yep.
Go to the local cafe.
Yep. And be patient. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah.
One of the restaurants we were at the other day, it took just a little over an hour to get everybody served. And, we were getting irritated at a certain point because we had work to do and this and that. But it was also, it's a family-run business. The food was excellent. The service was not bad. They were just very busy. Yep. And, one person cooking, basically one person waiting tables. And, it's just the sign of the times. Yeah. And they again had a help wanted sign in the window and just can't get the help. But folks, just be patient, be kind, tip them well. These people are working hard, especially the ones that are out working, this morning we ate in New Carlisle this morning in a little restaurant. I'd never been there before, which was kind of funny because it's 45 minutes to an hour away from here. And we go in there, we're eating, and all of a sudden I hear a voice, and I'm like, my God, I know that voice. I look over, it's one of my cousins that I hadn't seen in 4 or 5 years. So it was kind of cool. But anyway, the waitress, God, she was working hard in there, and she had a cast on her foot. Right. She had one of those black plastic casts on her foot, and she was hustling tables, man. When we came in, there was no tables available. She was clearing a table just so we could sit down, and she was the only waitress. She got a great tip, did a great job. Food came quick, was great, and that type of thing. So, yeah, folks, go local and be patient with them. Tip them well because they're working really hard, especially shorthanded. So.
Right. Yesterday I watched a customer at Culver's just obliterate a manager at the counter. Okay. And because something he had ordered a salad at Culver's. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. Well, he'd ordered a salad at Culver's, and
could be a top 10 list at Culver's.
Absolutely. Right? And one of the items was left off, and oh boy, this poor woman is literally surrounded by high school children. Sure. So, if you've ever had high schoolers work for you, you know that can be an exercise in patience in and of itself. I mean, literally, she's being staffed by children, trying her best. Sure. And I'm watching her just absolutely get ate up about, and it's just like, I just shook my head. I'm like, guys, this is not like hitting a review button on Amazon. Right. You're dealing with people here, and everybody's got something going on. Sure. So absolutely be kind, be patient. I know it's easier said than done. Right. Right. It's, but just even that, when it comes to tipping, an extra $2-3, sure. May or may not impact your day, but it could make a huge difference for whoever's getting that tip.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. So.
Well, good deal. Anything else we want to talk about? We're running just about right on time here to close it down.
No, it's going to be interesting. This has been a fun segment.
It has.
We just kind of wrapped it out a little bit. Yeah. And guys, let us know. Give us some feedback on topics that you want us to cover. Obviously, we're big gun guys. Yep. We're competitive shooters. We're SAS shooters. We love talking about that stuff. Yep. And but if you want us to cover a topic, let us know. It's one thing that we don't mind doing, and that's talking. Sure. So.
Absolutely. And like we mentioned last week, if you missed last week's episode, we're starting 3 segments in rotation. We're going to do basically one segment every 3 weeks. So it's going to be a rotation. Last week we did On the Trail with CC and Deuce, and that segment we talked mainly about SAS shooting and firearms related to SAS. And then this is our unloaded segment where we don't come in scripted. We maybe have 1 or 2 topics that we decide ahead of time we're going to talk about, but for the most part, there's no script. There's no boundaries. We did not plan on talking about politics or, meals or manufacturing or any of that. We just kind of let it roll today, and that's the unloaded segment. And then next week, we will bring you Trigger Time, and Trigger Time segment's going to be completely industry news. We will decide this week what firearms, what companies we're going to talk about. I would like to spend a little time talking about the transition of many companies from blue state to red state. But then we're also going to talk about some of the new firearms. We're going to talk a little bit about what they expect coming out next year, and maybe talk a little more about some firearms for later this year for deer season. Yep. And where the industry inventory is at the current state, and I'll hopefully find out a lot more on that tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
Again, guys, spitballing, because this is the unloaded session. I mean, it can be any subject matter you want us to cover. So,
yeah.
if somebody wants to send us, a bottle of bourbon or whiskey for us to do a review on, or
we
something,
can do
we
that.
can absolutely do
Absolutely.
that. Yep. I'm not a pro, but I would like to pretend to be one.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yep. Fantastic. We can do that.
yeah.
Oh.
So.
Also would like to thank W.R. Hall and Associates again for their sponsorship of not only our podcast, but also of our range and other things around here. And Mike, you guys are great people. We appreciate it. Deuce wore the hat just for you guys today. So if you need insurance, get a hold of W.R. Hall in Warsaw and have a talk with them. See if they can help you out. Also would like to thank We the People Munitions Company for their continued sponsorship and production of fantastic ammo used by many of the top competitors in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, folks, it's been a great time talking to you tonight. Look forward to talking to you next week. And like we always say, keep your powder dry. Thanks for listening.